Okay, new plan. It's been a few days and I think I have a direction to move in. So maybe it's just a good idea to just every few years to just, rewire your car. I don't know. But that's what I'm gonna do. So after looking at the manuals and looking at all the forums of other Corvair owners who have actually had this very similar problem, it really comes down to this main connector here and this 110 gauge wire. This really does feed the whole entire rest of the car. So my main plan is I'm going to bypass this connector and I'm going to run this 10 gauge wire through a fusible 50 amp connector so that I'll still have be able to connect it, but I'm going to put it up here somewhere where I can get to it easier, and I can pretty much guarantee that those connections are now going to be clean, free of resistance, and give me the best chance of keeping this car running. While I'm doing that, I'm also going to clean up whatever craziness that I had going on. I've had a lot of fuel issues with this car, and so I've had different fuel pumps here. I've had them up front, I've had them over here, so a lot of this wiring is for old fuel pump items, but currently my current setup here where I added a fuel line return, which isn't necessarily needed for Corvairs as far as I know, but I was getting some severe vapor lock, etc. So adding this return line actually just made that fuel just keep going no matter what, and really solved my issue. Might not solve your issue, but that's what solved my issue. So I have a fuel pump up front, and until I can actually fix the eccentric that is in here that I ruined 10 years ago, I have to use a fuel pump. So I'm going to keep using the fuel pump, but I can get rid of a lot of this wiring and clean all of this up. I also had an issue here. I can see I duct taped it. Maybe that was like 4 or 5 years ago, where this connection it doesn't click anymore. And because it doesn't click, the vibration of the engine would just separate it, and then all of a sudden the car just wouldn't start. I still had power, but you wouldn't be able to start the car. So I apparently duct taped it together, and that has been working. But I'm going to go ahead and I've got a brand new connection for this. I'll rewire this as well. And also, for everybody who's curious, this is not a voltage regulator. This is just a connection point for power. This is a 63, it's an early model, but I converted the generator. Once it failed, I went ahead and bought the late model oil cover with the adapter for a late model alternator, and this one has the internal voltage regulator. So this is no longer has an external voltage regulator, and this is just a pass-through. So I will be continue to use this, but I think I can clean up a lot of this stuff before I continue. And the one thing I'm going to do for sure before I do that is the car is running right now, so I'm going to do key on, key off, etc. I'm going to label all of these wires and make sure that we're good to go. But all right, that's the plan. Let's get started. Okay, I think we got through like a step or something. I took the mess of wires that I had here, separated them all out. All three of these were connected originally, just kind of in a pile here. And basically we have, I think this is key start here, and this goes to the coil, and this goes to my fuel pump all the way back up front. So all of this should still work as expected. Let's give it a test before we move on. All right, nothing crazy. I still hear fuel pump. And let's just double check. This is still good, but these are not together. So, all right, I think we're good. Honestly, I think at the very least, this will make for a lot better troubleshooting later on. So if we do all this and the car still breaks down or whatever, I'll be able to isolate each of these connections and see where the trouble is happening. So, all right, next step I think is going to be starter or thick wire. Either one is a game changer. I guess it doesn't matter. Let's see which direction I go. All right, this is actually going pretty well so far. These connections, and I'm able to readapt some of these items. So I think that's gonna work out pretty cool. So far we are at a testing spot. So I took out the connections here, and this main connection here is now going from here around to the fuse location, and from here back down into the car. So it's now bypassing the connector, and with any luck it'll still start. So let's give it a quick test. I think that's enough. I mean, it'll definitely start. So everything is still working as it should. So awesome. Next up, I guess the only one left that I really wanted to do was this connection here, which I'm considering not doing because the duct tape is holding. But I bought the connector, so I might as well do it. So this is the last part, and I think these both go all the way to the starter, so I think I'll be able to remove them from the starter and just really create brand new connections all the way to the starter. So let me take a look at that, and we'll come back. So I was doing some testing, and I thought this was pretty interesting. This connection right here, the main harness in the back, is completely disconnected. So even with that totally disconnected, I was thinking, ideally, wouldn't it be great if the car would still run? Check it out. So that's awesome, I think. I don't know. I don't know if we fixed anything here or not, but I do know that we cleaned up some wiring, and I'm totally bypassing this connection, and the car still runs. So hopefully the exact same issue that I was facing at the car show and for the last month or so isn't gonna happen again. I'm sure that we're gonna have new issues, but I think I've decided to go ahead and leave this alone, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. And this seems to be working just fine, and let's leave it alone. It is also already bypassing the connection, just that's how the factory did it. So let's just leave that where it's at and see how this goes. Really the only thing to do left is clean everything up and go for a test. So let's do that. All right.